Sexton Show. Bryan filling in one last day. Buck will be back tomorrow from his vacay. My home base is KFI in Los Angeles, where my show, The Dark Secret Place, continues into its second decade as America's only show on the war on terror and things that go pew-pew, hosted by an actual decorated wounded vet. To me, what does that mean? Well, it means I get pretty damn good parking. And I believe I've avoided 2 speeding tickets by having Purple Heart license plates. Otherwise, my advice for those of you about to deploy for the first time is, if someone yells, "Get down," take half a second, then get down. You just might also earn yourself some free parking. Nothing too serious, you understand. The White House has announced, it's almost like it's a Friday. There's a bunch of things happening. The White House has announced that defense aid, security aid will be suspended for Pakistan apparently tomorrow. The decision, I guess, has been made. They said Wednesday or Thursday the announcement will come. And this is 200, the initial thing is $233 million. We give Pakistan several billion per year, but it's doled out, in chunks. And the White House just announced that, they had that voter integrity commission, but it had nothing to do with Russian influence on the election last year through Facebook, or why didn't Hillary visit Wisconsin, or any of those, obvious questions. This was the White House actually looking into different states who are notorious for allowing people who are not legally allowed to vote, and whether they be felons or, in the case of California, illegal aliens. And so those states didn't cooperate. And so without their cooperation, without being able to read the data, the raw data by these different states' election commissions, the White House commission was going nowhere. So it's been officially disbanded. So that happened. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, if you're saying, surely that's not true, surely illegal aliens can't vote in California. Well, here's my little experiment for all of you, since you're not going to work tomorrow. They're let's be honest, in the East. Well, maybe actually, you know what? If you're from Snowland, if you're from Boston or New York or Philly, somewhere where, you're aware of what happens to water when it gets too cold, then your city probably has its poop in a group. It has the plows out right now. That's how you do it. I think I said this last week. I lived in Salt Lake City for a couple of years, and I've never seen a more efficient anti-snow operation in my life. It was amazing. But then again, you get those people on anything, and they will bring order from chaos. So, but anyway, looking at a live map, and in Georgia, I'm looking at a 26. Up north by Atlanta, 29 degrees. Overnight, it's supposed to dip down into the single digits. I'm looking at a 14 in South Carolina right now. Wow. A 24 in North Carolina. So anyway, you folks are going to be cold. I got news for you. You're not going to work tomorrow. This is your Friday. Because here's the thing. You work today. Good for you. You had a productive week, right? Tuesday and Wednesday. No one really expects anything to happen the week of the new year. You're going to take Thursday off. And if you take Thursday off, if you play your cards right, you're going to take Friday off. So effectively, you had a week off for Christmas. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you left work last week on Thursday. And then you mailed it in yesterday, didn't you? I mean, what did you do yesterday? You traded horrible relative stories and what you got and what you did for Christmas. And by the way, I know exactly what you have been talking about in Alabama and Georgia for the past day and a half. I know. You've been talking about this god-awful national championship game next Monday. Well, I got news for you. Besides your 2 states, nobody cares. And the fact that you're telling me, oh, man, there ain't never been any national championship game ticket prices like these. They're setting records. Well, you know why? Because you're the 45,000 people that want to watch this game. The rest of the country, from Penn State to USC and from Florida to the Washington State University. No one cares. We don't want to watch the game. You have fun. You know what? You trudge through the snow to get to that game, if you can imagine that. 2 SEC neighbors in a national championship game. Yeah. With Alabama still licking their wounds after playing Mercer. But you literally scheduled a bye. In college football, you literally scheduled a bye. And then I don't want to burn the phones up or anything. 844-900-BUCK. 844-900-BUCK. But Auburn beat you both. So, here's the deal. Let's just call it what it is. This is a 5-day weekend for you guys. It's Thursday and Friday because you're going to play your cards right. Saturday, Sunday, and then just be honest, in the South, no one is working on Monday. You're sitting around debating the national championship game. So let's just be honest about it. So let me just start with this before we get into aid being cut off to Pakistan and the Twitter war between Trump and Kim Jong-un and the White House commenting on it today. Before we get to that, let me just do this because here's what I'm going to tell you. For those of you who have never stayed at home in the middle of the week during a snowstorm, and for you longtime Southern people, you know it has happened. In the last 10 years or so, you've had, 3 pretty nasty winters where this has happened. Let me just give you a rule of thumb right up front. Amateurs drink warm alcoholic drinks in the cold. That's what amateurs do. They go, oh, let's fire up some eggnog or a hot toddy or something like that. Or someone quick, make some hot chocolate and we'll put some Baileys in there or whatever. That's what amateurs do. You know what the pros do? The pros take little shot glasses with either Jaeger or vodka and you set them out in the snow. That's what the pros do. And here's another tip. Don't play snow football with a football. Play snow football with a basketball. Because you can't throw and you can't catch a football in the snow, in the kind of snow you're going to have. So use a basketball, bring the kids out, line up those shot glasses in the snow, and let it cool the Jaeger or the vodka. Now, if you don't imbibe, I apologize. You're missing out. Nevertheless, I admire you. I admire your inner strength. I've given in to this evil liquid because by virtue of where I went to college. I can't help it. For the record, neither could Edward R. Murrow or Keith Jackson. We all went to the same place. And I learned the hard way that you don't drink warm drinks because you know what? Warm drinks cool down. And they suck when they're cold. So why not just cut out the middleman and pour the shot glasses full of something that's meant to be cold anyway? And the old standbys, it's real simple. Don't complicate it. Not bourbon, not whiskey, not wine, okay? Just don't even go outside. If you think that snow drinking means wine, just stop it. You're again, just go to bed now. Shot glasses, Jaeger or vodka. Full stop. There you go. All right. So in the White House, obviously, because of the events of the last 24 hours, the button tweet from Trump to Kim Jong-un, my button's bigger, plus it works. That plus the Bannon statement by the White House that we were talking about last hour. Obviously, the media are asking that. It's funny because they were actually behind. They were behind one significant event. Because Washington, D.C. was not a buzz about the button tweet. That was, what that's called? That's called Tuesday. The full-throated denunciation of Steve Bannon, plus the accusation that he's lost his mind. In Trump's words, quote, when he was fired, he not only lost his job, he lost his mind. Close quote. Now, no one had even caught up to that yet. So the media asked about the red button. Sarah Huckabee Sanders in the press conference earlier today answered about the button and Trump's mental state. So here in Cut 2, she's talking about the button.
There's a taunting tweet to say that he has a larger nuclear button.
I think it's just a fact.
Just one word. What does it say about the president's priorities that he unleashed a 4-paragraph statement about Steve Bannon in one tweet on North Korea?
The president has issued a number of statements, as have I, as have the administration. Ambassador Haley, Secretary of State, Jim Mattis, Secretary of Defense have all talked extensively about North Korea. To try to limit it down to one tweet is just disingenuous.
The president knows there is no actual one nuclear, but you're saying it is actually there. But the reality
The president's very well aware of how the process works and what the capacity of the United States is, and I can tell you that it's greater than that of North Korea.
We got a bigger button. Yeah, so the question was, it's a taunting tweet to say that, and she said, I think it's just a fact. So, which is incorrect, because it's not a fact. There's not a button sitting there. But if there was, the American button would be bigger. It would be much bigger than a Korean button. That's just a scientific fact. All right, 844-900-BUCK, 844-900-BUCK. We'll be back in just a second. More on the American drawing a line. Some say it's about time, after 16 years, drawing a line with Pakistan to either be a team player or we are going to be fresh out of, blanks to give for Pakistan. That more coming up. Bryan Suits filling in. This is the Buck Sexton Show.
Entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals, go to Abraham.com/50shades. 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 No opt-in required. Sells absolutely nothing. Gives away over 800 hours of priceless strategic marketing and business growth expertise. Videos, audios, full-length best-selling books, interviews of legendary business icons. Abraham.com/50shades. Abraham.com/50shades.
Untucked shirts make you look great. Designed at the perfect length. Not too long, not too short. Untucked makes shirts for you to wear untucked. Shirts so well made, GQ calls them perfection. Incredible comfort and fantastic style come together in one amazing shirt. Patterns from casual to semi-formal for men and now women too. See the new holiday styles at Untuckit.com. Use the promo code AMAZING for 20% savings. Untuckit.com. Promo code AMAZING for 20% savings. That's Untuckit.com.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details. Need some extra cash today? Do you have bad credit or maxed out credit cards? If so, turn your radio up. 45cash.com is one of the nation's largest personal loan networks with over 50 different lenders. Now you can get a personal loan for up to $5,000 with any type of credit discreetly from your computer or smartphone and with no paperwork to send in. That's right, no paperwork whatsoever. Your cash will hit your bank account as soon as tomorrow, as our lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 45cash.com and you can get the loan you need now, regardless of your credit. Go to 45cash.com from your smartphone or computer to get the cash you need. Visit 45cash.com. Type www.45cash.com directly into the address bar. That's 45cash.com. 45cash.com.
It's Buck Sexton Show. Bryan Suits filling in for Buck. He'll be back tomorrow off of his vacation, and as we are looking at changing weather map happening here in the South. I got to give you props here. There's going to be some actual serious temperatures, like some life-threatening, people losing fingertips and stuff like that kind of temperatures. I can report, though, that when I updated the live map, the 14 Fahrenheit in South Carolina, that's up to 17 now. So you can all take your shirts off and continue shoveling away, can't you? All right, so playing some Sarah Huckabee Sanders exchanges at the White House earlier today. And the button tweet, of course, was asked about, as well as some of the Steve Bannon stuff. And then in cut 3, the question about Trump's mental state. I got to say, I don't know that it's come up like this before. And I know that it's been discussed. For some reason, MSNBC is the network most likely to talk about the 25th Amendment and removal of a president and all that. But today it found its way worming into a regular question and answer press conference. Here is cut 3 on Trump's mental state.
After the tweet about nuclear threats, the nuclear button tweet, should Americans be concerned about the president's mental fitness that he appears to be speaking so lightly about threats regarding the nuclear button?
I think the president and the people of this country should be concerned about the mental fitness of the leader of North Korea. He's made repeated threats. He's tested missiles time and time again for years, and this is a president who's not going to cower down and is not going to be weak and is going to make sure that he does what he's promised to do, and that's stand up and protect the American people.
There you go. You know, and this is from a press corps, by the way. What I explained to you at the end of last hour about the process of the National Command Authority authorizing use of nuclear weapons, you now know more than most of the people in that room. Most of the people in that room really actually believe that there is like a light switch or a red button or something, and that the president pulls out a drawer, flips open a clear plastic, cover, and presses a button. And so that's why they're kvetching, as they say, about this tweet last night, that somehow the president of the United States doesn't have the right to stick his finger in the eye of Kim Jong-un, who stuck his finger in her eye. And then I'll also tell you, part of the issue with the press corps is that they're unaware, really, what Kim Jong-un said on New Year's Day. They are aware that Kim Jong-un talked about how neat it would be to send a contingent of North Korean athletes to the Winter Olympics coming up here in a couple days, but they haven't gone through any sort of Olympic qualification process, so they'd be nothing more than participants, but not actually eligible for any sort of medals or anything like that. That's what everyone was focusing on, and they were saying, "Oh, look at that!" And then he offered to reopen the hotline with South Korea. So terrific. That was the story. They missed the entire point of his speech, which was to threaten the United States with nuclear destruction. He said, I now have a full deterrent. He no longer, not like last year, by last year I mean 4 days ago, he was no longer saying, when we have our nuclear deterrent, and we will not be intimidated by Yankee words of calumny and aggression. And he was the one producing propaganda cartoons of nuclear missiles hitting San Francisco. The United States has never produced some sort of mocking cartoon propaganda film projected up against the White House of Trident missiles from a submarine destroying Pyongyang. We never have. But they do that consistently. They have done that consistently since 1953. The nuclear part, the missiles being pointed at the Capitol building, that imagery really is about 10 years old. But it tells you about the mindset. It tells you that that the faction of North Korean military, it's reported, who are urging their leaders to use the second that nuclear weapons or nuclear bombs are weaponized and put on a delivery vehicle like an ICBM, that they should be used for their final victory of reunification with the South. Because what's the point of diverting all that money and all those resources away from agriculture and industry and things like that? What's the point of making these things if we're not going to use them? Because unlike the American and Soviet defense establishments, who basically wrote the book on deterrence without ever meeting face-to-face to talk about it, we accidentally wrote the book on deterrence, and it worked. For 47 years it worked, and continues to work. Unlike us in the Soviet Union, the North Koreans have never had that discussion. And they're not intimidated by the fact that we could blow them up literally 10,000 times over. Because their thought on that is, well, if you do it once, who cares about the second time? But if we intimidate you, because we know that we can get a missile through, and we can destroy Kansas City, or we can destroy Lubbock or Amarillo or Portland, then you'll surrender because you guys are weenies. And that's really how they think. That's what they think. We're the hard people. On Earth, we are the cleanest race. That's their phrase. We are the cleanest race. We're willing to undergo any hardship because we have. We've starved to death. We've seen entire villages wiped out from starvation because we were put here for a reason to follow this dynasty, the Kim dynasty, and if they see fit to develop nuclear weapons at the cost of thousands of lives lost to starvation, then they must know what they're doing, and the second we get them, we need to use them. They've been saying that for decades, but the press corps hasn't checked that out. They can't be bothered to watch that. So Trump shoots a mocking tweet about my button's bigger than yours. Again, keep in mind, Kim Jong-un went to school in Europe and Switzerland. The guy speaks English. He is reading those tweets. Now you ask anyone in that press room, does Kim Jong, if you first ask him, where did Kim Jong-un go to school? 90% of them don't know. If you said yes or no, Kim Jong-un speaks English, 90% of them would get it wrong. What language did Kim Jong-un speak to Dennis Rodman? English. But they still don't know that. So yeah, he's reading that tweet personally. All right, we'll your snow tips for the snow phone calls or even your excuses. 844-900-BUCK, 844-900-BUCK. It is the Buck Sexton Show. Bryan Suits filling in. Back right after this.
2018 is here, and even though you probably won't stick with it, just saying, iHeartRadio is here to help you keep that New Year's resolution to get in shape. iHeartRadio stations and playlists for every kind of workout. Basic cardio, hip-hop, and even country. A new you in 2018, and new workout options on iHeartRadio. All your favorite music, all your favorite stations, all free. iHeartRadio.
Back with you now, because when it comes to the fight for truth, the fuck never stops.
Hey, it's the Buck Sexton Show. Bryan Suits filling in for Buck. He'll be back tomorrow. More for the White House. There's some breaking social media news here, and it has nothing to do with that idiot kid who did his video blog on YouTube with the dead guy in Japan. No, it's a young woman streaming Facebook Live in South Chicago, confronting a woman in a car who had a car accident, who some have characterized as a drug dealer out of her car. But she has a gun. The young woman starts calling her out on having the gun, saying, "You're not going to do anything with that, B." And the woman in the car with the gun shoots the girl who's Facebook streaming, or Facebook Live streaming, in the arm. And I'd play it for you, but I just don't have the time to edit it, because the lead up and then her reaction to being shot in the arm is pretty much exactly what I would have said. So I would never play that on the air either. But anyway, I'll retweet that if you're following on the Twitter machine at Dark Secret Place, one word, Dark Secret Place. Also, my YouTube channel is easy to remember. It's unsheepyourself.com. Like you're a sheep, but you don't want to be a sheep. No one wants to be a sheep. So how do you unsheep yourself? Well, you unsheepyourself.com. That's what you do. And that's my YouTube channel. And we're going to build it out. There's going to be more stuff, especially where I am. Here's the thing. Wherever you are, in Alabama, Georgia, anywhere in the South where you're getting these 17 degrees and all that, if you say, wow, that would be nice to be where it's 77 degrees like California. No, it would not, because it's the 3rd of January, and the state of California, as of midnight January 1st, made me a criminal because of things that I had that were legal on December 31st, by the stroke of a pen, are illegal on January 1st. And then there's something else. As this state, 40 million people run by corrupt Democrats who lost their own supermajority in Sacramento because enough of them resigned because of sexual misconduct in the past month. So they actually lost a supermajority. So good for us. But in my state, I don't know what you think about Illinois, Washington, D.C., any other gun-controlling state. You can fold them all up, and they still don't equal how gun-grabby California is. And I know I've said this before, but I just can't make a fine enough point about this. There are still many of us here in California that believe in the Second Amendment and exercise our Second Amendment rights. But the state of California doesn't like the Second Amendment, and everybody in power does not. And so as of January 1st, as of 2 days ago, when you purchase ammunition in the state of California, you have to undergo a background check. You heard me right. Go ahead, hit the radio. When you purchase ammunition in California, you have to undergo a background check. But I'm shooting it through a weapon that I already had a background check for. Yeah, I know. So now you'll be double background checked. To buy the ammo, you got to undergo a background check to fire it through the gun that you already had a background check for. That's California this year. So what does it force people to do? Well, one of two things. Start reloading, which is an initial pretty big expense, pretty labor intensive, though it's kind of fun if you get into it. Or thing two, become an automatic criminal and do what was legal 3 days ago, drive next door, go to Nevada, buy that ammo there. And if you're thinking, well, surely that's not illegal, how can they stop you from going into the state of Nevada and purchasing a legal product? Well, because you can't bring it in here, because you're a Californian. That's illegal. You went to another state, you went to an adjacent state, and you bought their ammo and you drove it back in. You can go gas up in Nevada, and you can get 92 octane. Ooh, wow. But that's not illegal to drive it into California. Go buy a legal product in Nevada, you can drive it into California, you're not breaking the law. Go into Nevada, buy ammunition, bring it back to California, you've broken the law. Yeah, and yes, California still considers itself part of America. It actually considers itself the best part of America. The most progressive, the most inclusive and diverse. And yes, no matter what any Democrat tells you, you can register to vote as an illegal alien with no address in California, no matter what they tell you. If you go online to the state of California to register online to vote, the only trick that you need to know do you have, produce this kind of ID, a lease, title, utility bill, whatever. At the very bottom of that page, it says, don't have any of those in tiny print. That's the trick that the Democrats tell illegal aliens. Click down there. The next page has, it's got government mail to your mailing address. It's got, child in a registered school and all that. If you don't have any of those, it says the same thing at the bottom of that. Don't have any of those. So you click to page 3. And literally it starts saying library card. And a bill from DirecTV. Stuff that you don't have to prove citizenship to have. Simply residence. But wait, there's more. At the bottom of that one, it says, don't have any of these. You get to page 4, and it pretty much allows you, without any proof of residence or legal right to vote in America, it allows you to register as a homeless person with no address. Just as long as you can pick it up at a P.O. box. For general delivery. At a post office. So whenever they say that you can't, it's a myth that you can register to vote as an illegal alien. It's not a myth. You can check it yourself. What was I ranting about again? Oh yeah, ammunition in California. Yeah. So I will take your 14 degrees in South Carolina. Because, you know what that feels like? It feels like freedom. All right. Let's see. Sarah Huckabee Sanders also getting around, or rather the press corps today finally getting around to the Trump versus Bannon thing that happened earlier today. If you didn't hear about that, some portions of a book called Fire and Fury, the first year of the Trump White House, inside the Trump White House first year. Steve Bannon is quoted liberally, and he clearly hates Don Jr., says that when Don Jr. met with those Russians, which is a fact, everyone knows he did that there's just no way he didn't take him upstairs to meet Dad. So they've denied vehemently that Trump met with these Russians. He says that there's no way that did not happen. He says that Don Jr. and Kushner, Jared Kushner, are involved heavily in money laundering, and that Don Jr. will crack like an egg in front of a congressional committee, plus a bunch of other mean things about Trump's thought processes and all that. Trump responded. I'll just read you the first two sentences. Steve Bannon has nothing to do with me or my presidency. When he was fired, he not only lost his job, he lost his mind. That's pretty personal. And so here in Cut 4, the question was asked about the Trump-Bannon feud. Again, remember, Bannon was central to the election. After Manafort, Steve Bannon came on board as the chief puppet master. He wasn't the coffee boy, he was the chief puppet master. Anyway, here in Cut 4, the question is asked.
The president says that when Steve Bannon was fired, he not only lost his job, he lost his mind. Does he feel betrayed by Steve Bannon? Does he regret hiring him?
I think the president's statement is extremely clear what his position on Mr. Bannon is. It was pretty lengthy and pretty detailed, and there's not really much to clarify or to add.
But is there regret then? I mean, he said a lot in this book, and they did have a long and close working relationship. So is there a sense of betrayal?
Once again, I think president's statement fully addresses what his position and what his relationship with Mr. Bannon is. April?
Sure. When was the last time the president talked to Steve Bannon? And this is a serious question. Is the president now blocking Steve Bannon from calling his cell phone?
I'm not aware that he was calling his cell phone, but I believe the last conversation took place at the first part of December.
Yeah, not really a lot of gray area in he's lost his mind. So I'm going to go ahead and assume he regrets hiring him, regrets returning his phone call, regrets ever letting him use the bathroom on Trump Force One. When he was fired, he not only lost his job, he lost his mind. That's the second sentence of the statement. All right, when we come back, a little bit about Pakistan. Apparently tomorrow the announcement is going to be made that after 16 years of supposedly being our partner in the war on terror, we're going to suspend defense and security aid payments to Pakistan. And will that get the result we want, and what exactly is that result? That and more. Also, our political dude, John Thomas, who also filled in for Buck last week, will join us because you may not know this because you're busy either doing what I said and putting the Jaeger shots directly in the snow in a shot glass, or you just don't care. But Washington, D.C., the inner workings are churning in the bowels like Crohn's disease. That and more coming up. Buck Sexton Show, Bryan Suits filling in.
Hey team, how would you like to get a box delivered to your front door with the coolest tactical gear you could possibly find anywhere and have it all curated for you by veterans of the special operations community? Well, now you can with Crate Club. I'm a Crate Club member, and let me tell you, I love getting my delivery each month. It has all kinds of cool stuff in there. You never know what you're going to get. Medical kits, ballistic inserts, custom knives, multi-tools. We got holidays coming up here. It's a great time to treat yourself or set up a friend or family member with a subscription. This is a veteran-owned, operated, and started company. You should check it out for yourself. And right now, you can get 15% off with promo code BUCKSHOT. That's 15% off, promo code BUCKSHOT. Just go to crateclub.us. That's crateclub.us. Gift options as well, promo code BUCKSHOT for 15% off. The battles of the past define the present. This is Buck Sexton, and starting on January 8th, 2018, you'll be able to join me on an epic journey into history, the Shields High podcast. Available on iHeartRadio, Shields High will be an exploration of the war for Western civilization as described through gripping accounts of the most pivotal moments when the Christian world and the Islamic world came into direct conflict. Shields High will be a true journey into the fight between East and West, cross and crescent, crusade and jihad. We will dig into the truth of these histories, learn about the great heroes, martyrs, villains, and traitors, and connect these legendary struggles with blood feuds and national security challenges that haunt us to this day. All the while, we will bring ourselves as close as we can to the bone-shattering charges of the front lines. Be sure to check out the Shields High podcast, and remember, it is time to awaken the iron.
It's Buck Sexton Show. Bryan Suits filling in for Buck Sexton, and he'll be back tomorrow after vacation. My home base is in Los Angeles at KFI Radio, and the Wall, or What to Do with Dreamers and all that kind of stuff, that'll be up for debate in Washington, D.C., and I'm sure it'll be on Meet the Press and the whole thing. But where the rubber meets the road, whoops, that's my fault. Hang on, let me just turn that right down. It's one of those auto-firing websites. But where the rubber meets the road is the most basic concern that Americans have is not whether or not some kid brought here when they were 4 months old is going to get in-state tuition or whatever. They do. And I don't know about your state, but illegal aliens get in-state tuition in California. They also get preference over your kids who are American citizens and maybe might be out of state, and maybe they want to go to a UC school. Yeah, the illegal alien gets preference over your kid, so that happened. But where the rubber meets the road is violence. I mean, specifically violence perpetrated by people who had no existential right to be here. You know, in a philosopher's debate, Kate Steinle is alive because the guy that killed her never found that gun, which magically went off and shot her in the back and killed her. He never existed in that space in America. But the fact is he did. Would it have been less tragic if it had been an American citizen? Yes. The answer is yes. Yes, metaphysically, yes. It would have been less tragic, more understandable, than it just would have been an accident. But there's a class of ghost people who should not physically be here. And yes, they contribute $2 billion in taxes per year to the state of California. That's okay, because they cost $22 billion. Now here's the latest outrage. San Bernardino County, huge county, bigger than Rhode Island and Massachusetts put together, monstrous county. Huge sheriff's department. Not huge, but big sheriff's department. The oldest deputy, a guy still out on patrol, was 70 years old, named Larry False. 70 years old. But you wouldn't know it to look at the guy. You know, he looked like he was right about to retire, but he sure didn't look 70. Well, there was an accident. There was a minor accident, car accident, between off-duty Deputy Larry False and Alonzo Laron Smith, who was 30, and a gangster and a career criminal. And what happened after the accident was when they got out to exchange information and the whole thing, Mr. Smith beat Larry False to death. Now, Alonzo Smith is an American citizen, but he was driving a car full of people who are not, because he was a member of a gang that was run by, or is run by, illegal aliens. And so, I don't care about the guy's citizenship. This is yet another cop killed by an illegal alien. Even though the guy's an American citizen. When he gets arraigned, he'll be an American citizen. That's fine, because he is an American citizen. But he was in the wrong gang. He was in a gang that physically has no right to be an American. And it's not just MS-13. MS-13 is the most famous one. You're dealing with them in Massachusetts, in Connecticut. They're driving up north to buy cheap opioids, and they sell them in New York and Long Island, the whole thing. You're dealing with MS-13 all around the East Coast. The majority of them, overwhelmingly, have no right to be in this country. And they're only in this country to do crime. That's all they do. They don't open up shoe stores. So a 30-year-old man beat a 70-year-old off-duty deputy to death. And what he did specifically was he sucker punched him once in the side of the head, and Deputy Faust fell backwards onto his head. He died in the hospital a few days ago. He died in the hospital yesterday. So he's going to be charged with murder. And this is the part that the media and the Democrats don't get. Certainly not in the state of California. The Democrats don't get this. That even amongst Hispanic Californians, I mean, legal citizen, 4th generation, 10th generation, believe it or not, there are such things as 10th generation American citizen Hispanics. So when California was ceded to the U.S. after the Mexican-American War, they stayed and they became citizens, and they've never left. Been here longer than my family. My family got here right before the Civil War. So yeah, you know what? They're just as outraged when a cop is killed by an MS-13 member, or when a young woman is shot in the back in San Francisco, or whatever. They're always going to lose on this issue of the wall. As you've seen, all that's required is Trump running, before he was ever president, promising to build a wall and get tough on immigration. And the Border Patrol reports that illegal crossings are a quarter of what they were 2 years ago. But the Democrats don't understand that will always be a winning issue. And they don't even listen to a lot of their base. Because the other part of that issue that, for some reason, nobody brings up, I wish Republicans would bring it up more, but because of illegal immigration, you not only get the increase of violence, the state of California won't release the number of illegal aliens in the state prison system, which is bloated and huge. But it does a good job. It brings the crime rate down because criminals go to jail for a long time in California. The estimate is no less than 1/3. 1/3 of the entire jail population is illegal. The insiders say it's closer to a half. And because the other issue, for instance, in Texas, in Florida, and California, is that cheap labor has absolutely eviscerated the ability for a black blue-collar worker to go and be a roofer or a drywaller. Because 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that drywaller, that roofer, worked hard with his hands in the sun, but he could send 2 kids to college because he made a pretty good wage. And then a whole bunch of cheap labor started doing it for a quarter of the cost for cash under the table. So that's the economic reason. And what's really angering about that is that Republicans, from the Chamber of Commerce on down, they like the cheap labor. Democrats like the voters. So we'll be back next hour. John Thomas, our political dude, will talk about Bannon Gate. Bryan sits in for Buck Sexton. A fresh new year has begun, and if you're studying new goals for your business, it's extremely difficult to reach them without the right people on your team. And ZipRecruiter has transformed how you go about finding them. ZipRecruiter posts your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards with just one click. Then, ZipRecruiter actively looks for the most qualified candidates and invites them to apply. Unlike other hiring sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on the right candidates finding you. It finds them. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes and industries to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, Buck's listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/Buck. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Buck. One more time to try it for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com.
Other shows just talk at you. In the Freedom Hut, we have a mission. We fight for the truth in a team effort. And Buck is back with our next play.
It is Buck Sexton's show. Bryan's filling in for Buck. He'll be back tomorrow off of vacation. And kind of a big day in politics today if you're just joining us or just joining us live. 844-900-BUCK, 844-900-BUCK. We're taking phone calls on best things to, especially from you Southerners, best things to drink in the snow? Because we all know you're not going to work tomorrow, so just don't even act like you have to get up early. So the president firing back at excerpts from a book coming up, Fire and Fury, inside the Trump White House, first year. And the first two sentences, and you probably have heard this by now, quote, Steve Bannon has nothing to do with me or my presidency. When he was fired, he not only lost his job, he lost his mind, close quote. And then it goes on from there. There's some more stuff. Well, the guy who lives and breathes this stuff, you heard him last Thursday and Friday, John Thomas, who's our political expert from my home base, KFI in Los Angeles. He joins us from a secret location where he's on a train or was on a train. Well, John, I don't know, you've been traveling all day, but Washington, D.C. apparently is in a Twitter over this.
It is in a Twitter, and, you know, it's not surprising that this happened in the sense of if you talk negatively about President Trump, I mean, I don't care who you are. You could be President Trump's own mother, and he will talk trash against you. But look, there is some truth to what President Trump did say about Bannon, and that is Bannon, of course, was an important staffer in the home stretch, but Trump managed to get through a brutal primary process and essentially win the election without Bannon. So it's largely the media that has hyped up Bannon's role in being the guy behind the curtain that got Trump elected. I think Trump also, that irritates him a bit.
Bannon called himself and fancied himself as this guy with direct access to Trump, you know, from August of 2016 on to past the election day. Then, of course, his inclusion in the White House staff and all that. He constantly said that he had direct access, and ultimately that's what cost him his job. But, I mean, if that wasn't true, how come Trump didn't shut him down and say, stop saying you have direct access?
Well, he did have direct access while he was there in part of the White House. He did. Now, in the final days, from what I understand, is he had been siloed away from President Trump in the final days. But early on, he did have direct access to President Trump, and I think that's why Trump's not shutting him down in that category.
In this thing, after the man has lost his mind, he calls him a staffer. And that's clearly not true, but that is an insult. I mean, you know, D.C. Isn't that the worst insult?
It is. I mean, it means you're replaceable. You're just a cog in the wheel. You're a nobody. It just means you're not significant. And there's a little bit of truth on both sides, to be honest, Bryan. On the one hand, Trump deserves a lot of credit for getting to where he got, quite frankly, by himself. On the other hand, without Bannon's steady hand in the home stretch of the campaign, I'm not entirely sure that Trump would have succeeded. If nothing else, it was Bannon that believed in Trump after the Access Hollywood tapes. It was what everybody else, including Reince Priebus, said, you're done, you should resign. It was Bannon that encouraged the president's instincts to just double down and keep going.
And is there any indication that Bannon actually can claim credit for any of the statements Trump made or strategies? Because Trump's strategy before Bannon, you know, flying into Iowa and talking to 20,000 people in a basketball gym, Bannon wasn't any part of the campaign. He didn't think of that.
Oh, that's right.
And it didn't really change after.
You're right, Bryan. I mean, exactly. Trump's strategy on locking on immigration as a wedge issue early on in the primary was all Trump. The strategy of doing that rally tour in the home stretch with all those states that Hillary Clinton did not visit when Trump was closing fast was attributable to Kellyanne Conway and Tony Fabrizio, the pollster, who had data to confirm that. So I think Bannon wasn't detracting from the operation, but I think he's certainly been given more credit than he's due. And just think about this, Bryan. I mean, look, I think Bannon's a smart guy. I think he understands media narratives. But from a campaign practitioner standpoint of knowing how to make television ads and digital media, he has zero experience in that category prior to part of this race. So I just don't see how he could sit around and say that I pushed every single lever in the campaign. That's just simply not true.
And on January 3rd, amongst Trump's base, who are looking at snowfall, from Oklahoma to South Carolina as we speak, on a Wednesday, which is going to become a de facto Friday, do you think anyone cares?
No, this is cable news chatter. The cable news stations love covering the soap opera and the infighting. No, I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, if people are going to look at if their economic situations are better off, if their family feels that they have a better future under a GOP and Trump administration, that this is all noise. And you know what, Brian? It distracts, quite frankly, the Democrats, because they lock onto these kind of things because it feeds what they're yearning. Democrats are yearning to hear gossip and dirt, and they focus on that, and it distracts them from focusing on real policy solutions and alternatives to the Republicans.
Yeah, because if what Bannon says is true, then people should be very concerned. If money laundering is what Don Jr. was up to and Jared Kushner was up to and all that, then obviously people should be concerned. Until there's charges, until there's a charge sheet or congressional hearings or whatever, this is what kills me about how the Democrats are shooting themselves in the foot. They're looking at today, and then I'm looking at the lineup on MSNBC. They're acting like people give a damn. People are going to start seeing. What was the company today that announced bonuses because of the tax breaks? So now you've got Comcast, Southwest Airlines,
right.
Someone else today. And the Democrats, they don't understand that for every time a company does what Trump predicted they would do, they lose. A unicorn punches a clown. They don't get it. They're sitting there with Joy-Ann Reid on MSNBC talking about, Trump Tower and a Russian meeting. Meanwhile, they're not converting one Trump voter. Even if they disapprove of the job he's doing, they would still vote for him again.
Right, and you hit it on the head. There are some in D.C. around the Beltway on the Democratic side, some strategist friends of mine, that are seriously asking themselves the question of, they're starting to press the panic button going, is running and opposing Donald Trump going to be enough to get voters to leave, Trump voters to leave the president in the midterm? And they're not sure because they see the policies are working in those critical states and those critical swing states that Democrats are going to need to flip. It's a good question going in. I think you are going to need to make a policy argument and not just a personality argument.
Yeah, because this is a big year. This is a congressional election year. A third of the Senate is up. And so the Republicans have to ask, is Trump a liability or an asset on the campaign trail? The Democrats are not even asking the right question, which is, do we even have a message? I don't know what their message is, because it keeps being Trump is bad, Trump is bad, Trump is bad. But they're talking to people that voted for Trump. So they're basically saying, you're an idiot in 2016.
You're an idiot. Yep.
So be smart in 2018.
That's right.
That's not how you get people over on your side.
No, and I think Republicans are going to be able to thread the needle appropriately, which is they can hug Trump where he's popular, distance themselves from the personality when he's unpopular in their district, but hug Trump's hug his agenda and his accomplishments, because I think voters had a certain level of cognitive dissonance when they voted for Trump. Because remember, Brian, he was never massively popular in the first place. They voted for him despite that because they really liked his policy, and that's what Democrats still don't get, is that the policies are what win at the end of the day.
They clearly didn't get it when they backed Hillary, and they don't get it now. And I thought last year that the Congress would be lucky to stay in Republican hands. I think more Republicans are going to be back in Congress. So there might be 4 years of one party rule. And if Trump can't do everything with it, if he can't do anything with that, then he shouldn't be president.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. But I think that is right. As soon as February, I think as soon as everyday Americans are going to start seeing real money back in their pocketbook, up to 91% of middle-class Americans are going to see a significant refund. I think that's when the tide starts to break in terms of Trump and the Republicans on the generic ballot.
Yeah, and then even if taxpayers and voters need to be reminded why they have that money in their pocket, this is a president who will remind them. This guy believes in spiking the football.
Yeah, 5 times a day at least.
Yeah, easy. So, yeah, they will be reminded. But did you hear what the cause was at the Clinton house for that fire?
No.
It was Hillary's pants. Hey, her pants were on fire. I know. I didn't work on Twitter either. I didn't do it. I read it from someone else. Because the problem is that could mean something else, but we know that's not a possibility. But anyway. All right, John Thomas is traveling, but he still provides brilliant analysis at the Thomas Guide, the ThomasGuide.com podcast and more stuff. All righty. Well, thanks for joining us here on short notice, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
All right, there goes John Thomas, our political guru. We'll be back right after this. The hammer's dropping on Pakistan. The word comes out tomorrow that a halt in American foreign aid for security and military aid is going to come into effect. I'll tell you about that right after this. Bryan's filling in for Buck Sexton on the Buck Sexton Show.
Hey team, how would you like to get a box delivered to your front door with the coolest tactical gear you could possibly find anywhere and have it all curated for you by veterans of the special operations community? Well, now you can with Crate Club. I'm a Crate Club member, and let me tell you, I love getting my delivery each month. It has all kinds of cool stuff in there. You never know what you're going to get. Medical kits, ballistic inserts, custom knives, multi-tools. We got holidays coming up here. It's a great time to treat yourself or set up a friend or family member with a subscription. This is a veteran-owned, operated, and started company. You should check it out for yourself. And right now, you can get 15% off with promo code BUCKSHOT. That's 15% off, promo code BUCKSHOT. Just go to crateclub.us. That's crateclub.us. Gift options as well. Promo code BUCKSHOT for 15% off.
This is Michael David from Seattle. I'm 51 years old, and 6 months ago, I started taking Andro 400 to increase my testosterone. Since then, I've lost 35 pounds of fat, and my waist went from size 38 to size 32. I have more energy, and I look and feel 20 years younger, and now my wife tells me I have to take Andro 400.
Hi, this is Ron Johnson from Utah. After 10 weeks of taking Andro 400, I lost 13 pounds, and my waist went from 36 to 33. That was 8 years ago. I continue to take Andro 400, and I've maintained my weight at 172. Gained muscle and energy. I'm 63 now and feel better than I had in 30 years.
Andro 400, the natural way to increase testosterone, lose belly fat, gain energy, and feel great. Try Andro 400, the safe, effective, affordable way to boost your testosterone. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
It is the Buck Sexton Show. Bryan Stoops filling in for Buck. He'll be back tomorrow after vacation. And tomorrow also, not only are many of you going to call in snow for work, also because it's a safety issue, too. I mean, it really is. If you're not used to driving in snow, it's just unsafe to expect all your people to come in for work. But if you need more excuses, I'll start putting them up on Twitter, at Dark Secret Place. So Pakistan gets somewhere between 1 and 2 billion per year, depending on who's doing the counting, between political aid from the State Department and security aid from the Pentagon. But as I explained yesterday or a couple days ago, State Department money goes right to the government.